Tonight on our Great American panel, he's a member of the Wall Street Journal editorial board and writer of the Best of the Web column at opinionjournal.com. James Taranto is here. She's a professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University and author of Be the People. Political analyst Carol Swain joins us. And he's a Democratic pollster, Fox News contributor, and author of Hopelessly Divided. Doug Schoen also joins us. Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi. Let's start by talking VEEPSTAKES. Yep. And we are now in the season where everybody's putting lists together, and most of the people on those lists are all saying, no, no, not me. Why is everybody saying no, Doug?
Well, because the worst thing you can do in politics is say yes. Because if you say yes, there's extraordinary scrutiny and questioning. Marco Rubio has had a few questions asked about him this year. He's obviously at the top of anybody's list. The best thing for him to do is do what he's done. Rob Portman is probably the other person who's at the top of the list because, Liz, this is a very close race. It will come down to Ohio and Florida, and they are the two most likely, in my opinion.
So what did you make today of Jeb Bush basically not saying no, saying that if he got the phone call, he'd consider it?
I think that that's wise for him to do that because otherwise he would not have been considered. And I hear a lot of people saying that the Republicans have to place a minority on the ticket, and Rubio will be great because all the Hispanics will vote for the Republicans. I think that's very foolish reasoning. I think that they should be looking for the strongest possible vice presidential candidate, and that they should not play, you know, racial politics and diversity. They should just be looking for the best person for the job.
What's your sense, James, as you look around the web every single day and you watch sort of what people are saying, where this is all headed? You think that Governor Romney's going to pick somebody before the convention?
I imagine he'll pick somebody shortly before the convention. That seems to be the way it usually goes. And I have to say, I'm leaning more toward thinking the best choice would be either Portman or Paul Ryan of Wisconsin, because they're both quite experienced. They're both solid. They're both conservative. And I think there's something to be said. I agree with Carol's point about I don't think we want to pick a minority for the sake of picking a minority. I don't think we want to pick somebody for his charisma. I mean, that's what we've got in the White House now. I think what Romney wants to put forward as an alternative is a serious ticket consisting of serious men. And Portman and Ryan also do very well in the suburbs in their respective swing states.
I don't think there's a chance that it'll be Paul Ryan. Bottom line, it will be a fight about entitlements. If you think the fairness issue now is writ large, it will be far worse. The upstate congressional race last year, the by-election, was a referendum on Ryan. He lost. There's nothing in his plan now to suggest the same thing won't happen. Portman's a real player. Ryan, I think, is DOA.
Of course, if you want to stop Ryan, the thing to do would be to neutralize him by putting him in the vice presidency.
How much do you think it matters at the end of the day? Who they pick? I mean, people like to think, I like to think vice presidents matter, but at the end of the day, how much does a vice presidential candidate really matter looking at the ticket and how things come out?
Well, I can tell you that for a lot of real conservatives that have questions about Romney, I'm not sure that those questions would be erased by his picking someone, you know, that was really, really conservative, because if you look at Joe Biden, he's not had that much influence on, or it seems, on what's taking place in Washington. That seems like
not according to Joe Biden.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like he has had very much influence on what's taking place. And so I like Jeb Bush, and I think he could attract the Hispanic vote, and he has the qualifications, and that would be a safe choice.
Doug, what do you think in terms of the process that you've watched in the past unfold? Who's had the best VP selection process?
Well, I think the best process, I got to be a little biased, go back to my old boss, Bill Clinton. I thought when he picked Al Gore and they went off on the bus tour, it was a generational pick, it was an out-of-the-box pick, and it was one where they fit together and it galvanized America. Those are the kind of choices that work best. And, James, I think it will come late, because when it comes late, it provides short-term momentum in the polls, which is what, in I think a close race, Romney's going to need.
We continue now with our Great American panel, and I think you'll all be surprised, or maybe you won't be surprised, Doug, to hear what Nancy Pelosi had to say about the First Amendment recently. Let's listen to that.
We have a clear agenda in this regard. Disclose, reform the system, reducing the role of money in campaigns, and amend the Constitution to rid it of this ability for special interests to use secret, unlimited, huge amounts of money to go into campaigns.
So we're going to amend the Constitution in order to limit freedom of speech. Is that the Democratic Party's
No, what we're
position?
going to do is get rid of super PACs because they're rigging democracy. A few people, Sheldon Adelson, Foster Friess, are basically hijacking our system.
So Sheldon, Adelson, and Foster Friess don't have the right to speak.
Oh, they do have the right to speak, but not through secret groups where there's no disclosure. They're putting massive sums in, and basically your vote and my vote counts less than their money.
That is totally ridiculous. If it were not for those groups, given the Obama administration's control over the mainstream media, the rest of us would not have a voice. And so I'm thankful that there's avenues that other people can be heard.
But this constitutional amendment that Jim McGovern wants to propose, this is what Pelosi was introducing. This is not just to limit super PACs. It's not just to curtail free speech in order to promote democracy. This is really a radical, evil proposal. What it would say is that nobody can assert any rights under the Constitution except in one's capacity as an individual. So it would wipe out the First Amendment, all the other amendments in the Bill of Rights, the protection against bills of attainder, and so forth. What we're doing now, because we're doing this in a corporate building under the aegis of a corporation, News Corp, the government would have complete authority to regulate what we're doing now. No. You read the amendment.
Right.
This is what it says. I'm describing what the amendment says.
But hold on, let Doug respond. Just a second.
My sense is that we are in a system now where, James, we don't have a democracy. We have ultimately wealthy people. Obama doesn't control the media. I don't really like his presidency, but he's not running the media.
Okay, but he would be able to, or the government would be able to, under this amendment, because it would remove all rights from any kinds of organizations.
He's running a large proportion.
It would say corporations cannot assert any rights under the Constitution. It is a radical idea. Read the amendment.
But, you know, it's not surprising to me that the Democrats are looking to limit speech. If you look at what Senator Manchin said recently, and I think we've got this quote, we can put it up on the screen. He said, I'll look at the options. The people in West Virginia, they basically look at the candidates, whatever you're running for, whether it be the president itself or whatever. They look at the performance and the result that's been attained. Right now in West Virginia, these first 3.5 years haven't been that good to West Virginia. So then you look at what the options will be, who will be on the other end. The bottom line is you've got Democratic senator from West Virginia refusing to say that he supports the Democratic
Isn't that what
president.
our system's about? Shouldn't we have independent voices in the Senate? I mean,
But don't you think the president's got a problem if he's got one of his own party senators?
Of course he's got a problem. He's in a race where he's either even or slightly behind. He's getting negative ratings on the economy, and 62% of the people say the country's heading in the wrong direction. The Republican Party is consolidating, and we're looking at an election that could well be like 1980. Best case for President Obama is it'll be like 2004, and the Manchin comment shows it, sure.
Do you think, James, that the problems that he's having in West Virginia have to do with his policies? It's not just that the Republicans tend to be doing well at this point, but that his policies are hurting working people.
Yes, and West Virginia is a special case because it's traditionally a very Democratic state that has moved Republican quite sharply in recent years. The ticket your father was on in 2000 was the first non-incumbent Republican ticket to carry West Virginia since Herbert Hoover in 1928. I have another theory about Manchin, though, which is that if he's thinking about voting against Obama, maybe it's just that he's a dog person.
That was good that you got that worked in. Do you see the president being able at this point to come back? Do you see him being able to do something that will begin to reach out to the voters of West Virginia, for example?
I think that given the way this administration operates, that it will do, by any means necessary, they will give people what they think will persuade them to vote. There's deception. There's a lot of deception.
They've written off West Virginia.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate all your time today.